Guys, thank you for joining me again on my YouTube channel. I am Cheriel Brown. I am the owner of Third Person Omniscient Productions, and I am also the author of The Secret of Life Through Screenwriting, How to Use the Law of Attraction to Structure Your Screenplay, Create Characters, and Find Meaning in Your Script. And thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about one of my favorite shows that streamed all new episodes back in June. It was the second season of the show called Love, Victor. And Love, Victor is based on the television, or it was developed for Hulu from the movie Love, Simon. And Love, Simon was one of my favorite movies in 2018. I went to see it in the theater twice, and I actually wrote an article for Script Magazine about the adaptation from the book, Love, Simon, to the screenplay for the movie that came out back in 2018. But we're going to talk about Love, Victor today. And Love, Victor is the series that was created that came from the movie. So in the series Love, Victor, in season one, Victor is a high school sophomore in season one. He has just transferred to Creekwood High School in Atlanta, Georgia from Texas. And he is trying to work through whether or not he is gay or not. And to do that, he dates one of his classmates named Mia. And one of the things to remember is that Victor's family is a devout Catholic family. Well, especially his mother is devout Catholic. They are a Latino family from Puerto Rico. And Victor goes to Creekwood High School, which is in a suburb of Atlanta. So let's get down to season two. Season two, I felt, was a really good season. The last time I checked IMDb, Love, Victor got an 8.1 star rating, which is very, very high. The highest you can get is 10 stars. And Love, Victor got 8.1 stars. I'm very happy about that because it is a great show. I'm not really going to talk too much about the writing on the show because I was pleased with the whole season. I don't really have any critiques for it. I just was able to watch and enjoy the season, which is what you really want to be able to do when you're watching the television series. You don't want to have to sit there and just be like thinking about how the writing could have been better. You really, that's never fun. But I'm 40 years old, and I am the age of like the parents on the show. Like I'm a little bit younger than the parents on the show. Sophia Bush plays Mia's future stepmother, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Brooke from One Tree Hill. So I'm like excited about the adults on the show. So my favorite character on Love, Victor is probably like his father. Actually, his father reminds me of a guy I kind of dated back in the past. But anyway, like I digress. In season two, Victor is starting his first relationship as a gay young man with his classmate Benji. And there are a lot of firsts for Victor throughout the season, and he and Benji are trying to navigate that. But the way they tied in the movie from Love, Simon is Simon was a student at Creekwood, and they had like a gossip blog at the school, and that the whole movie from Love, Simon is based on that blog. So you got to just watch the movie first, and then you don't have to watch the movie first to be able to enjoy Love, Victor, but it's just nice. You understand like how he's able to reach out to Simon and why it makes sense. And so Simon at this point is often at college somewhere, but Victor found his information and has been asking him questions about like just navigating this whole experience of coming out. But what I really, really loved about season two of Love, Victor is that it deals with the aspect of like most of the conflict actually comes from like his parents dealing with him coming out. Most of the conflict comes from the friction that develops between Victor and his mother after he comes out. And Victor's mother's name is Isabel. They call her Izzy a lot of times on the show. She's played by Anna Ortiz, who used to play on the show Devious Maids, and she's also from the show from ABC, Ugly Betty. And like, honestly, guys, I usually know all the actors' names and everything on TV shows and movies, but I don't know the young people's names. I haven't seen really too many of them in anything else other than Love, Victor. The character that plays Mia, Rachel Bilson, she also, Rachel Hilson, I'm sorry, I think I said her name wrong. I think I confused her with the girl from the OC. But she plays the young Beth on This Is Us, which is why I actually kind of like recognize her name. Because she's been in some other stuff that I've seen. But everybody else is just like, I just know them from Love, Victor. But one of the major storylines is the friction between Victor and his mother. And what I love about this show, like when I was young, the only representation of like gay characters that we had on television was really from My So-Called Life, which I think was also like an ABC show, starring Claire Danes. And then we had Jack on Dawson's Creek, who I think Jack had the first gay kiss on a primetime show. I think it was Jack. I heard somewhere that it was Topher Grace and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but I don't think that's accurate. Like, I don't think that was the first gay kiss on that 70s show. I think it was on Dawson's Creek. And it was Jack's character who was dating a guy on the show and they kissed. I think it really came from Dawson's Creek. But that just goes to show. And then it was like years and years and years and years before there was another like really major gay primetime character who was Kurt on Glee. And I really love what they did on Glee because Kurt had a very like supportive father. And I think for gay guys, that's like the biggest conflict. Like, what's my dad gonna say? Like when he finds out that I'm gay. And if you watch Glee, which was a great show, a lot of the first few seasons of Glee was focused around Kurt coming out and how his father supported him. But what they did not touch on in Glee is the religious aspect that comes in for all of the prejudice towards gay people and all of the conflict. The conflict usually comes from a parent who is tied to some kind of form of organized religion, and they can't accept that their kid is gay because of what a book tells them to believe and what to do. And I know there's a lot of debate on whether or not the Bible explicitly speaks against being gay. And I just don't understand people who are able to somehow reason out all of the homophobia that's in the Bible. I don't understand people who are able to just kind of like overlook that, because there's a whole story about Sodom and Gomorrah. And the whole reason why the city got destroyed with fire and sulfur was because it was a large gay population in Sodom and Gomorrah. And people who just kind of like gloss over that, like, I don't understand how they still have like this huge reverence and respect for a book that condones a lot of homophobia, misogyny, like so many different things. And the thing I love about season 2 of Love, Victor is that the mother, Isabel, is going through her struggle with what she was raised to believe about gay people and her faith with the Catholic Church. And in season 2, like in season 1, she's a piano teacher, and they kind of like upped the ante in season 2, and they made her the choir director at a church, at a Catholic church, where the priest at the Catholic church is not welcoming to gay people. He believes it's a sin, and he believes that people who are gay are going to go to hell. And I love the way they deal with that whole storyline with her struggling with her faith, and then what she knows in her heart, because that's what you always have to go by, is what's in your heart. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I was raised to believe that it was wrong to be gay. And I just knew that I had a friend who was a Jehovah's Witness with me, and we grew up together, and we were kids. We were like 10, 11, or 12 years old, and I knew he was gay. And like, he came out, later when he was in his 20s, but I just knew he was gay. That's who he was. And I found it kind of hard to accept it in my heart that it was wrong. Like I just didn't understand why it mattered. Like, why is it such a big deal? Because this book says that it's a big deal. Like, I was 8 years old, my mom sitting down and telling me that we believe whatever the Bible says, we follow whatever the Bible says. And I remember thinking as an 8-year-old, how do you as an adult give a book so much power to dictate your life? This is a book written by human beings. And you can't trust a book that says, oh, this book is inspired by God, because the people who wrote the book wrote that down. So I love how they deal with that in the second season of Love, Victor, because the mom, like, I feel like the most character growth in season 2 is the mom, because she's the one that has to, like, she's the one that has the hardest time accepting Victor as being gay. And I love that you're kind of thinking, like, in 2021, is there really enough conflict to have a whole series centered around this kid coming out? Because you kind of think, oh, well, people are more accepting of it now, but there's still a long way to go about changing people's opinions about what it means to be gay, and if it's good, if it's bad, or if it's okay, or whatever. And I just feel like, though, it's gonna be hard to get parents to sit down and watch the show if they already have that bias. If they already have that bias that being gay is bad and being gay is wrong, the question is, are they gonna even watch the show in the first place? Are they even gonna be able to see the storylines and have their hearts open up to it? That's the question. The question is, will people who are already open-minded to it, or people who are already accepting of it, are those going to be the only people who tune in to watch the show, or people who even have a prejudice against gay people even going to watch the show? That's the question. But, aside from that, that's the biggest conflict over season 2. And I love how they handle it. And I also love how, again, we have a father, Victor's father, who is the more accepting parent. And in this situation, to me, in a way, it makes sense. And I love how they have a Hispanic family, a Latino family, and the father is the one who's, like, open-minded and really willing to just do whatever needs to be done to accept his son. Because if you look historically in Hispanic and Latino culture, like, when they come from, like, those origin countries before they come to the United States, and even when they're here, it's like, culturally, it's not okay to be gay. And the fact that his father is just so open-minded about it, he's not being all like his mother says, like, I'm really proud of you, you're not being all machismo about this. And it's like she's the one who has, like, more of the issues to work through because of the religion aspect of it. And then in season 2, we have the relationships, of course. It's a teen drama, so you gotta have the relationships. So there's Benji and Victor, navigating Victor's first relationship as a young gay man. And, he's texting and calling Simon and asking Simon for advice during season 2. But he's also having to navigate this with Benji, because Benji has had a relationship prior to Victor. And Benji was dating an older guy when Victor and Benji met in season 1. So Benji is the one in that situation who has the experience. And then we have Felix and Lake, which was one of my favorite couples. And then we have Mia, who broke up with Victor. Well, Victor started seeing Benji and was having feelings for Benji when he was seeing Mia. And then Mia saw them kissing at the dance at the end of season 1. So in season 2, it's kind of like Mia trying to find her way after the breakup. And I love the episode that Victor and Mia finally got a chance to talk after the breakup. And Mia, and I love how she says it, and she's the girl, and, like, as girls and women, we're always told, don't say I love you first to the guy. And, I guess the advice to saying I love you to a guy you broke up with is to not say it at all, right? But I love how she tells him they're having an honest conversation about the nature of their relationship now as friends, like, how are they going to move forward? And Mia tells him, like, I love you, and he tells her, I love you too. And it's like, you can love people and not be in a relationship with them. And I think young people need to know that. They need to understand that. And they need to know that when you truly love somebody, it's not about possession. It's not about jealousy. When you truly love somebody, it's loving someone enough to let them go. That is what true love is. True love is loving someone enough to let them go and be with the person that they need to be with to be happy. And you're not being jealous and possessive and controlling, because the truth is, you never can own anybody's heart. Even if that person marries you, they literally, just because they said some vows and said I do, they still have a right to wake up one morning and fall out of love with you. They still have the right to walk away. They still have the right to go love somebody else. This whole possession of somebody's heart in our society is made up, okay? It's made up because it needed to be made up to keep men at home so that there could be some type of family structure, okay? But I love that. Mia tells him, I love you. He says he loves her too. And I love when she's like, this is not how I pictured our first I love you. But it's such a good message, because you have to always think about these teen shows. These teen shows are teaching teenagers, like, television is what gives young people the expectations of how relationships are supposed to work. And as I mentioned before, I'm 40 years old and I grew up on that Disney bullshit. That Disney bullshit that you kind of like need some Prince Charming. You're waiting for some Prince Charming to come rescue you. And then you like get into a relationship with this Prince Charming and you get married and there's happily ever after. I didn't know that was bullshit until I turned 18 years old. And I'm just like, yo, this is not how relationships work at all. This is not true. It's bullshit. Like, a lot of times these stories that we're told, you know, like, they don't serve us. So I love to see a show come along like Love, Simon, where the depiction of a relationship is a lot more realistic. One of the things that happened in the 90s, and I think, you know, people who are on the writing staff of these shows are probably primarily in their 30s and 40s. They're more probably like the age of the parents on the show. So we had a whole generation of television shows, including the show Sophia Bush was on, One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek. What are some of the other shows? Friends, like, because if we look back at in that 90s era, you have this one central couple that everybody likes together. This was the formula that they used in the 90s. You had this one central couple that everybody loved to see together, and then you basically break them up. You give them one season together, right? You give them one season together, and then you break them up, right? And then no matter how long the series lasts afterwards, if it's 4 more years, 5 more years, 10 more years, you make these two characters pine away for each other for all of these years, and they never get back together. They never get back together, or they get back together at the very end of the series. And you know what? That is not healthy. That is not healthy in real life. If you're in a relationship and you break up and you guys don't get back together within like a few months, move on, okay? Move on. Stop pining away over that person, because what they realize is that it irritates the audience. It pisses us off so much that we don't even really care if they get together or not. This is what happened on Dawson's Creek. It was all of this like drama between Dawson and Joey. And like, we didn't want them together anyway. We wanted her with Pacey, which is why at the end of the series, she ended up with Pacey. Okay. So this is why I like the fact that on Love, Victor, it's already established that these relationships are not necessarily going to last for 5 or 6 years. And the teenagers on this show are more savvy to that fact. Victor says at the end, towards the end of season 2, when he is kind of crushing on Raheem, which is, I love that character. I love Raheem, but he's kind of crushing on Raheem, and he's like, yeah, we know Victor's kind of crushing on him, but it hasn't really been established at this point. But he's kind of like, what's the chance that you're going to end up with somebody forever who you dated when you were a teenager? And I love the fact that he says that, even though his parents met at the age of 16 in high school, and they were high school sweethearts, and they ended up together. But he sees the struggles that his parents are going through, because also in season 2, his parents are separated. Because in season 1, the whole reason why they moved to Atlanta was because his mother had an affair with his dad's boss. Okay, so he kind of sees like, you know, it maybe is not a great thing to be with the first person that you fall in love with for the rest of your life, because you don't even know what else is out there. So I love how they're already like disrupting this in Love, Victor, because at the end of season 1, we have Felix and Lake. We have Mia and Victor, but Victor is already kind of like moving over with Benji. And then in season 2, Mia and Andrew finally get together. So Andrew is played by Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son. I don't remember his real name, but he plays a jock. And I think he does a really good job of playing, like, I like how every generation, the dumb jock is more realistic. Because in real life, they're never really people who are just so stupid, like really stupid. Like that's not really realistic when somebody's just so dumb, like all the time. But I love the way he plays the character, because Andrew sometimes has this like vapid look, this vapid, vacant look on his face. Like, he looks like my cat, like when my cat stares off into space. And he plays a dumb jock really well, but I also like his growth. I like the fact that he, I think, genuinely deep down wants to be a good person, and he wants to be, because the writers want us to like him because he's ultimately Mia's love interest. They have a history, as we find out in season 1. He's always pined away and loved her, and they finally get together in season 2. Oh, I should probably tell you that they're going to be spoilers in this video. So they finally get together in season 2, and they're so cute together. So, but of course, Mia dates somebody who doesn't work out for a couple of episodes, whatever. But my favorite little relationship is the possibility of Pilar, Victor's sister, and his best friend, Felix, because we find out a few episodes in that Pilar has a thing for Felix, and she's doing the nicest things for him to like show that she cares and that she's there for him. I won't actually go into details about what they are. You can watch the season to find that out, but they are my favorite, cutest little couple. And so, like, when it gets down to the end of the season, Felix has a decision to make. Is he gonna stay with Lake, who was like literally the girl of his dreams, or is he gonna like give this relationship with Pilar a chance? And, you know, Felix is kind of like goofy and, you know, like dorky to the utmost. And he's really like an old man. But when I was in high school, that's the kind of guy I would have like really like nerdy and smart and like just interesting, because he has interests that other teenage boys don't have. And, you know, like, I love how we can kind of see that Felix's confidence is a lot higher in season 2 after he starts dating Lake. And they have some milestones in their relationship as well in season 2, but I'm looking forward to seeing the whole like Pilar and Felix relationship in season 3. That's what I'm looking forward to. But it was a great season. I don't have anything to say about the writing. The writing was good. The choices were good. I mean, like, I like teenage dramas, and I like the ones that make you feel good inside, not the ones like, what was that show? 13 Reasons Why? Oh my God. Like, first of all, 13 Reasons Why, I'm just going to digress just a little bit. 13 Reasons Why should have been a limited series with 13 episodes, and that's it. You could tell season 2, 3, however long it went on, they were grasping for straws. And a lot of the follow-up seasons didn't make any sense. But I digress, because I watched the whole thing anyway. But I like the shows like Love, Victor that makes you feel good inside. Like Benji does this little thing with Victor. He's like, you know, until you are ready to come out at school, this is going to be our little sign. You know, that's going to be our sign. And Love, Victor is one of those shows that gives you the feels. It just gives you the feels. And I just did a video a few days ago about the show Joseph Gordon-Levitt just launched, called Mr. Corman. And I watched 2 episodes of that show and felt hella depressed. And I had to, like, you know, get my life together and go do something that made me feel happy and raise my vibration, because it made me feel terrible. But Love, Victor, oh, the show gives you the feels. It makes you feel good. It's one of those shows that's like, oh my God, the people love each other so much, it makes me want to cry, you know? And that's the kind of television that I enjoy watching. I was able to watch all season 1 of Love, Victor a couple years ago, and I was able to sit and watch season 2 in a couple of days, and it wasn't like a drag. Like watching Mr. Corman was like work because it made me feel bad, basically. But Love, Victor season 2, it's good. It's good. Check it out. And I'm looking forward to season 3. I could tell from IMDb that they got picked up for a 3rd season. The 3rd season is coming in 2022. So I am looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining me today on my YouTube channel. If you like this video, please like the video, share it out with your friends, and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any videos. And have a happy week. Have a happy day. Do something creative. Read a book. Watch some TV. Watch a movie. Or create something yourself. And have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.